not sure how to begin. These are wild times we're living in. I want to have some conversations about some of these things, but to be honest, I'm apprehensive and I really don't know how to necessarily start with that. It's trying times. Now I live in Canada. I live in the west of Canada, and there are mandates now for non-essential services, so things like restaurants and bars and other places that people might want to go hang out. And I don't know how I feel about all of it. I know that if one takes the time to really do some research, look at some numbers, and to calculate some data that is actively and available out there for people by public government agencies, and if they were to take the time to actually look through that data and think critically, they'd be asking themselves a couple of questions. And the first and foremost question is, what the heck is going on? And I don't have any answers. I'm just here to ask questions. I don't have any authority to speak about any of these subjects. I have been collecting some data. I have been looking at some numbers over the past year since the beginning of 2021, so not quite a year. I'm not going to share or go over any of that, but I do need to make some kind of stand, and especially as Justice P. Hassler, it's important for me, and it's always been important for me throughout my entire life to really live up to my values and to to stand up for what I personally believe is morally right and what is just. And right now, what I'm seeing in Canada with some people's livelihood being on the line based on either personal choice, past medical history, religious values, or otherwise just concerned in some regard about the mandates and choosing to maybe not get something rather than choosing to get it. And there's a lot of stories that aren't just here in Canada, but that are global about this situation. And I think that it's really important for us to talk to. So I am being very vague. I'm being very open. All I know is that I'm really doing my best to come back into my health and to take that under control. And this isn't supposed to be a plug, but I did sign up for some athletic greens, which are delicious. And after a month of using that, I'm feeling pretty hyped, actually, and energetic. Man, I wish I was just Russell Brand. I wish I was witty, courageous, and have enough backing to actually just like bring up some of these data points I've been recording. And I'm not Russell Brand. I don't have a following, and people don't know me. And here I am potentially shooting myself and my future channel in the foot just by even opening up the discussion for these topics. So I really don't know what to do. Maybe I should just keep it light and on the surface and focus on some music and silly TikTok flips, when deep in my heart I know that something more is going on out there, and I do have a voice that I could grow and start to become a bigger part of the conversation. I know I really want to do that, and I guess it's perhaps coming to a point where I'm going to have to choose to either just stay silent or to speak up on what I believe is truth and what is just, and maybe counter some of the larger narratives that are being drawn, because even the fact that people and professionals can't even have some of these conversations and that they are being censored is extremely concerning. Even if we go aside of any like safety parameters on physical safety about new mandates that are coming up or whatever, or otherwise physical safety of not following those mandates, right? Even if we take all of that stuff and we put it aside, there's a bigger moral, there's a bigger situation that's happening in terms of censorship, in terms of the governments around this world, and a lack of choice to be able to live a normal life based on status. And that just seems like a really dividing, hard path to walk. And living in Canada, I've been following Jordan Peterson for quite a while, and I really look up to him and respect him. And he just did put out a podcast, I believe, yesterday. He's speaking mainly towards Australia and their lockdowns and tracing apps, but he really takes a kind of a zoomed out outlook at what is happening. Sometimes compares these measures of control to previous moments in the history of our Earth and our species, and some of the dangers that that's actually brought up. How a society can go from being open and tolerant to being a majority intolerant of certain groups of people that might not have the marking or the status of the general populace's idea of what is good for everybody else. A lot of this is actually scary for me. And I'm not concerned about my health, but I am concerned about having freedom, being able to continue to make choices for myself based on critical thinking and understanding, and not just blindly following presumptuously, misleading information and data. When I overhear comments like, oh, if you only cared about society, then one would so and so forth. To imply that some people are intentionally not caring about society, it makes me really consider and think about what it is to care about myself and for my family and for the community around me. Maybe, just maybe, some of those people are actually looking very deeply, maybe even more deeply than the people who are like, oh, if you just cared about society, you would ... So maybe some of the people are actually very much considering society, maybe considering society and their family, and maybe they're trying to have a baby or a child. Maybe they're trying to consider the long-term effects for themselves, their families, and their communities. And maybe it's that concern that actually does translate to caring about our society. And maybe some people are more intelligent than you give them credit for, and for not just following something blindly, again, perhaps based on misleading information, right? And there are a lot of people that I know personally who are thinking very critically about the situation, and they're weighing all of the choices, a cross-benefit analysis, and they are making conscious, clear choices as a free member of society in modern North America, in Canada, okay? I understand that there's a great diversity of people out there, and some people are probably choosing not to do something just as blindly as the people are choosing to do something. I'm being so vague, these terms. Man, I'm just trying to play safe. I'm not saying all the choices are going to be healthy. I'm not saying all the choices are going to be right. It's like if you just cared for society, then you would ... In the same vein and same line of thinking, I have to really be careful and aware not to throw a similar kind of judgment and separation and, not to, feed the flames of anxiety that's already happening. My intention is to be accepting and understanding of everyone and the freedom of their choices, right? It goes both ways. So I want to get away from the judgment and the criticism that translates to anger and separation that's already translating in my families, in my friend circles, and in my work to, be a division that's causing conflict, right? I believe that people that choose to go the route of the mandates or choose to not are equally right and valid in their choices. And I hope that each one of those groups and each one of those people have actually taken the time to, consult their personal medical professionals or people in their life to actually do some research and to think about, all of the immediate and greater long-term consequences. All right. I think I've just said I've just been blabbling and I've been so vague, and this is going to be really stupid, I guess. So I don't know. I'm confused on how to really start the conversation without shooting myself in the foot. And I'm probably already doing that anyway. But these things are now starting to affect my personal daily life. And I believe it's my responsibility to speak about it. So without saying anything that's really yes or no towards anything, I'm going to leave it super vague and just stop right there, put it out, and perhaps I will go deeper and actually provide some backing to the reason why I am making certain choices in my life. So I love y'all. Peace.